I'm saying that I get to have to be in someone's space. You know what I'm saying? I don't take that at all for granted. So it's really dope that y'all have me out here. I know that we're gonna have a Q&A. I think it's incredible, first of all, that 52 people are on Zoom when you don't have to be. So y'all are really the winners here. Chinese man doing hip hop, all this stuff, or just industry stuff. I'm so happy to talk about it. Before that, though, let me show you a little bit about what I'm about. This first one is called Vibranium. It's a record. I just dropped the music video this last weekend, and got a shout out from Ronnie Chang. That was cool, and I hope y'all enjoyed this.
And the chorus just let the beat ride.
Yeah.
Let the music speak for itself. That's what I feel.
Hey, I haven't made it yet, but I still hit every stage like it's the main event. Proc a show on Twitch like it was a stadium. Never dumb it down or baby them. Give you shit to stick to every wrinkle in your cranium. Dead tie, that means we titanium. Immigrant mothers, yeah, they tougher than vibranium. Been through struggles, no, I ain't complaining. Just saying if you want it easy, you probably ain't made for this. No disrespect to the fans. I sketch an outline blueprint of the plans. The lessons that I learned from a boy to a man. The Beatles lied, ain't nobody out there wanna hold your hand. Invest in the community, they'll have your back. Believe in unity, but I'm prepared to scrap. Spreading words round curves till my verbs hit your cranium. Rarely on the radio, but active like uranium. Rarely on the radio, but active like. Rarely on the radio. I haven't made it yet, but still it's undebated that I'm in the conversation, or at least the group thread. When they chat about Asian motherfuckers stacking numbers up, I got a bank account, or at least I'm on the paper route. Maybe some doubt, bet some don't. Seen drought, somehow I flow. Maybe get clout, maybe I won't. Open mic 5 minutes, bet I leave that shit smoke. Bet I leave that shit smoking. Always on the rise, but I've never been a token. Like the first time I flew over the ocean, how I'm grounded, but still I rise like the poet. Don't need my name in the bright lights. Yeah, just wanna be heard when the mic right. Hey, I let the cage birds sing, but the clip wing rings louder than the limelight. Louder than the limelight. Really on the radio, louder than the limelight. I'm louder than the limelight, yeah. Really on the radio, louder, A. Yeah, so that one, again, that one's called Vibranium. The record just came out recently. I'm really happy with it. It was produced by actually a producer I met on Instagram. He just followed me. We stayed in touch. He hit me with that instrumental. Check. He hit me with that instrumental, and I was like, yo, let's get it. So that song, like for me, hip hop and lyrics, a lot of it's about storytelling. A lot of it's very impressionistic, right? It's about painting a picture rather than like defining it. You know what I'm saying? To me, especially as on the artist side, if you're on the producer side, especially if you're on the engineer side, music can be very scientific, right? But especially if you're on artist side, it can be very impressionistic, right? I'm not trying to tell you and define. I'm not trying to give you a TED talk in a song, not all the time, but I am trying to kind of paint you a picture of my life. So that one was kind of loosely inspired. To me, the first line that I came up with was the dead tie. That means we titanium. Immigrant mothers, yeah, they tougher than vibranium. And then everything kind of spiraled out of that and was inspired by that theme. Similarly, this next one is called All You Can Eat. My boy Matthew Jameson from St. Louis produced this record for me. He's a jazz instrumentalist and producer. Really, really dope brother at Matthew Jameson Music. And this one's based around something. If y'all are jazz heads. If anybody in here has been in like jazz band, this one may be familiar. The sample may be familiar to you, but this is based on a John Coltrane sample. This is called All You Can Eat. Lights on, heat up, take away nothing, prenup, ayy. Paper chase money, we run, yeah. Off of everything you can eat up. When my DJ at the table call the priest, yeah. When it's not a famine, then we call it feast, yeah. Fly, walk, crawl, even from the beach, Cantonese. It's all on the menu, even not deceased. Crocodiles on feet like a Lacoste fit. Working on my fitness with no CrossFit. Babe shoes, ostrich, fake news gossip. Would you do the right thing without it trending as a topic? Beefing broccoli Tims, Space Jam dunks on. I'm watching The Last Dance. Don't pause revolution while executing the movement. Still tap dance over culture vultures making jazz hands flashback. I was 26 wearing the black wrist scratch that they turn in Chicago into Baghdad. Tax money that they use to fund all of the fascists. No surprise we take it to the streets. Yo, fuck a hashtag backpack. Got a fast mask and a move on fast track. On the front lines, what are you on? Smash that. Then they use the image as an asset. Protest pics turn ads for the cash grab. Fuck that. They driving Benzes while these aunties use a bus pass. We gentrifying Chinatown where all the dust at. We busting kids away to districts where the funded public schools don't even got a lunch plan. Multiple choice, but no right ones. Bag packed in the trunk when the time comes. Dougie said, POC, you better buy guns. Funny how the NRA only defend the white ones. Ayy, K5 Fido with the mask on, yeah. KTV when my track run. Respect to China, Mac, Gingy, Ruby, Ybarra, Net Market, Chamin, Juno, LNZ, and Bohan. Lights on, heat up, take away nothing, prenup. Paper chase money, we run off of everything you can eat up. Lights on, heat up, take away nothing, prenup. Paper chase money, we run off of everything you can eat up. So that's All You Can Eat, AYCE is what the song's called, AYCE. I hope y'all enjoyed that one. That one I wrote kind of early fall, like midsummer, after we'd been quarantined for a while. We actually wound up during a pause in lockdown when things were safe. We shot a video in Los Angeles, Chinatown. That's one of my favorite videos. I got to direct and edit it. And we got to work with our friends at Hop Woo, which is this Chinese restaurant in LA Chinatown that kind of everyone knows. And, you know, we were really able to collaborate with them to show people like, hey, you know, during this shutdown, this is what's going on. You know, all your favorite restaurants, all your favorite community spots, they're still there. So important to support them. This next one is called New Eyes. And, you know, speaking about being Asian music, I don't know if y'all have heard of a producer named Sam Ock. Is Korean-American producer, originally out of Maryland, and now is based in Atlanta. He's worked with Dumbfounded. He's you know, topped the charts in Korea. So Sam had just gotten back from a Korea trip, and he was in LA hanging out. And we were talking about like hip hop, right? And Korean hip hop, which has been really popping off. And, you know, if y'all are fans of like, you know, Jay Park or, you know, any of that whole constellation, I've been listening to a lot of Bombing Tiger recently. Right? We were talking about what does it take for Asian markets and for Asian artists to really, really represent hip-hop culture well or participate well in hip-hop culture. And Sam was like, yeah, you know, we just need to talk to things that are really deep parts of our experience. And then out of that came this song, New Eyes. This is one of my favorite songs, actually, that I've made. And I hope y'all enjoy it, too. Our friend Ruth Cho, this really dope young Korean singer from Orange County, sings on this hook too. So shouts to Ruth. Hey. Yeah. New eyes that look at the world in new ways. New eyes make contact, blue, green, and gray. New eyes I realize I never knew. When you realize feelings are trapped inside of you. New eyes are shaped by respect you earn. New eyes are shaped by the lessons you learn. New eyes attract new guys and new games. And tonight those eyes will be filled with new gazes. New eyes that thrill. First minute you saw world through new lashes, no chains involved. New eyes insist you're taken serious. New eyes filled with confidence and trust. New life written with the passage of time. New eyes that gleam with color that won't die. Who knew I'd see such beauty and love? Eyes that combine perfection and flaws, saying
I may not
Hey. Nah. No, no, no.
But I love my face, my eyes, and body.
Those eyes were once made middle school jokes. Those eyes are stories of our kinfolk. Those eyes are dark but glow in sunlight. Our people been hurt, but still we gon' fight. Those eyes contain 5,000 years of pride. Those eyes saw dying stars and old skies. Those eyes are shy, those eyes are so kind. Your eyes are so wise, your eyes look like mine. Those eyes speak, could turn in the other cheek. Eyes turned down so they couldn't see you weep. They teased you because your eyes were too thin. Synonymous with cheap or prostitute skin. Those eyes were me, eyes are family. Your eyes are ID of your identity. Your eyes are not weak, eyes are not wrong. Your eyes are holy, your eyes are from God. Sing.
I may not be what you think.
Hey. No, no, no.
But I love my face, my eyes.
So I was talking to my sister, and I asked her a question. Yeah, I asked her, what's the price of confidence? What it costs to be happy in your own skin? Not my place to question, but do you see a stranger when the mirror is reflecting? They said I'd never understand. Pressure from magazine covers, Asian mothers and men. No, whether tan, bleach to blonde, we remix our colors like we cover pop songs in a bottle. How I battle all the berries, right? Some drink, some color their hair every night. Some try to act out, some try to act white down music, but I never been a stereotype. New eyes break cold lies. New skin is new wine. New highs and new vibes come through with new life. Second coming like Christ. Yeah, he told me that therapy taught you so much about our parents. We got a chance to reset the past. To us, our generation, bring the future to the past and say, I may not be what you think. You're standard beauty, ay. But I love my face, my eyes, and body, yeah, 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 hey. I may not be what you think. The standard beauty, ay. But I love my face, my eyes, and body. Word. So, thank you, folks. I appreciate that y'all are still listening. Damn, we got more people in the Zoom call now than when I started. So that to me is that's pretty dope. People usually leave Zoom calls; they don't join. So, thanks everyone. I got a couple more records for you, and they're actually all off this album that I dropped this summer. So this summer, obviously this last spring, lockdown hit, quarantine hit, and we're all like, yo, what is going on? This shit is crazy. And everybody, you know, we actually, my group, Night Market, which is this trap crew that I'm a part of, we have an EP that was ready to go. We had a 9-city tour booked. And then literally like a month before, we were supposed to leave like mid-April. But then LA locked down mid-March. And, you know, in the end, I'm not saying like, oh, we should try to do it. Like, no, like, I'm glad that we didn't. But, you know, so I was sort of stuck at home. Everything's disrupted. Everybody's, you know, kind of just taking a step back, kind of like we are right now with where COVID's at again. Worse than ever. So I took a step back and this album. So this album, actually, I wrote this album a year and a half ago. And this is something that happens in the music industry a lot. You'll write a single, you'll write a song, you'll have a project, and you'll wait. Like, you'll be all ready to go, but you're just holding on to it for the right time, right? For me, the reason was, I don't know if y'all remember what 2019 felt like, but 2019, everybody was like turned up. You know what I'm saying? Everybody was like very energized, very ready to go, very angry or very excited or very optimistic. But it just didn't feel like the right time for the music I made in this album, which was very gentle. It was very jazzy. It was very lo-fi. But then quarantine hit. And my business partner hit me, and he was like, hey, you know, like, we should do something. If you have the bandwidth, it would be great to give people something. It would be great to reflect what's going on around us, right? And so we put out this album, Living Room, and these last few records are going to be off of that record. So this first one is called Mood. This one is with my boy Leo Shah. I really like this one. It is inspired by my Instagram feed. I love Instagram, but, you know, you can really lose yourself in there. Scrolling by, scrolling by. Yeah. So alive, me tongue-tied. Hey. Checking myself out in this black mirror. Look at my outfit, isn't it a killer? They said if a pine tree was to go timber and nobody was around, the forest wouldn't remember. I was back in New York, it was back in December. The photo with 30 Rock looked like a greeting from Santa. Cupcakes at Magnolia always looked like a winner, but I would prefer the dumplings that they serve near the Chambers Street station. Glasses on, I look at life with my lens craft. Face ID, I guard it like a pin pad. Whitewash the grill, they told me other colors look bad. I guess the yellow always remind them of witchcraft. Why buy the 6 when they got the 7? Rest in peace to my headphone jack, I hope it's up in heaven. Don't go to church no more, but I will stream the sermons. Nowadays they'd rather live a meme than die a legend. Yeah. Scrolling by. Hey. If y'all are feeling this, feel free to, you know, feel connected to the music, you know what I'm saying? Even though we at a distance, music is something that can still reach out and literally touch us, you know? If I occur in your mentions, please pray for me. It's been a long week and I ain't found time to feed. If I disappear from this earth, was it the result of curse? Or did the high plane just open up vacancy? You got me subscribed, I just wanted the free Wi-Fi. A fire fit and a walk along the high line. A pint of cider or a cup of chamomile. I'm simple in desires, I don't need a second phone line. The candle was a votive, I used to want to get quoted. Now I just want to learn to be devoted. I fell out of line like an old notification. That red numeral haunt me like a seance. God bless the decimals in every algorithm. The court cases that told corporations that they live in. I find my space in the recycle bin, and I wonder if it's true that stray dogs go to heaven. Amen. Tap me on the shoulder. They said all we need is time, but all we got is us. Yeah. So I got 2 more, if that's cool with y'all. How does that feel? Michael and Michael, the Michaels. How does 2 more? 2 more? Does that work?
That's perfect. Yeah,
Sick.
I'm like really vibing. So just keep going, man.
Heck yeah. That's what's up. Awesome. Let's see. Yeah, so this next one, so this is a poem that I wrote, inspired by my grandma. It's a poem, so it's very, you know, I think it's very accessible. And beyond doing, you know, obviously being a rapper, being an educator, you know, of sorts with Asian America, I also do poetry, and I've had a really cool opportunities for my poetry also to be heard and to touch people. So this one is one that I wrote for my grandma. It's called Dumplings. Yeah. The full title of the poem actually is Dumplings and Benjamin Franklin. Russell Jung says Chinese people can speak 2 love languages, food and sacrifice. He does. He's a professor, and he says that. Every time I visit my apartment, my grandma does 2 things. She cooks pan-fried dumplings, and she presses a new $100 bill into my hand. Benjamin Franklin wrapped in a red envelope like a robe. Grandma lives across from the Montgomery Mall, where we walk after lunch, bellies straining to search up and down the aisles of KB Toys. I lie on her carpet through the late afternoon playing with my new Legos as she watches the Chinese news on her old TV. Grandma is an immigrant, worked to support 3 sons, knows how to leave everything behind, knows that these dollars are nothing more than a nursery of fading green, paper-thin cocoons transforming labor into life. What kind of idiot collects shed skin and dead hair and calls that life? I do. For 2 months, my friend David hid every mirror in his house, turning frames and taping up newspaper until he was living in a perpetual state of tornado readiness. He said the more he looked at himself, the less he saw others. I'm afraid to accept that I've forgotten how to see you, grown used to seeing what I need from you, terrified to confess that I care more about what I'm saying than who I'm saying it to. That's not language, it's a mirror. And isn't our world filled with mirrors, kisses like cold glass, and songs clear and clean like the air in a bank? Maybe the answer is learn from grandma. I'll cook you your favorite food, which you'll spend on late afternoons with me. If I'm gonna live in a world where kisses taste like summer and songs sing like two palms warm against each other, I'll need to speak in a language that I haven't yet mastered, but need to. We speak 2 love languages fluently: food and sacrifice. Word. So so that one, again, that one's called Dumplings, and that one's kind of written for my grandmother, for all your grandmothers. You know, if you have grandmothers, if they're still with us, if they aren't with us, you know, that's just sort of about this idea of, you know, that very special kind of relationship and heritage. You know what I'm saying? That's the roots of it all. So this last one, I know we've got a Q&A, which I'm super excited to get to. I hope y'all have some questions, because I also have questions. I'll see if I can come up with some answers, but you know, I'm here for y'all. We gonna find the answers together. You know what I'm saying? That's what a community's about. But this last one that I'm gonna close with, this is the Asian Music Association. I'm so thankful that I just think that it's dope that y'all exist, because you know I'm a little older than y'all, and when I was in like college, you know, like it was just a very different. Even in the last 5-10 years. Just the culture around and the vision around being Asian and doing music, being Asian American and doing music has dramatically changed. You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen 88 Rising come out. We've seen, you know, like all kinds of incredible artists start to get looks. You know, we you know, Her is out there. People like Connie Lim. People, I mean, I could go on and on. Obviously, K-pop, K-hip hop. Like, there's so much dope shit out there now, and I'm very glad to be able to be a little part of that wave. But it's just such an honor to be part of this community, and so my buddy Uzuhan and I, this artist from Atlanta, we made this record. It's on Living Room. It was the lead single from Living Room. It's called Honor. It's based on Sandra Oh's like little vocal sample. So I'll close with this one, but I'll still be here. You know, we got some time yet. But this one's called Honor from Living Room. Thanks everyone for being here.
Thank you, but it's an honor just meeting you.
Yeah, hey. Let's go. Yeah. Gold skin to cinnamon green cards and citizens, airless university scholarships and immigrants, dark hair and irises young without college and whatever we playing at, you know we be killing it. Humble but dominant, grew up in acrobat, flip from laundromat to graduate to diplomat. Yeah, called Chinamen by the ignorant, the wise they called them gentlemen. Y'all know what time it is. I love my people, how we haggle at the markets, take a family vacation to the outlets. Eating out, it's not a question if we gonna split or if anyone takes the last portion. No, I love the smell of salt and sweet gold in the air like the sun off the beach. I love the stories that make us so unique. You can copy the food, but the soul is out of reach. It's an honor. Yeah. Yeah, let's go. That's right. Hey. White and blue collar, they became martyrs. Honor to all the mothers and fathers and daughters, sons of back kitchens, the liquor stores and corners, dollar cabs, massage parlors and fruit farmers. Grew up with no role models and no stories. Learn to use tongues and brain in due order. War they called on us and left us war torn. It's no surprise we cut borders but not corners. And they treat my father like he's still a tourist. But we got no problem buying Sony or a Taurus. Hypocrites. They learning to ignore us cause the obstacles they gave us only taught us how to flourish. Artesia to Tyson's Corner, the streets of Flushing, Plano. Yep, my people's gorgeous. Sky is the limit since Bruce broke the boards. I know no bamboo could ever hold us underwater. It's an honor. Yeah, hey. Yeah. It's an honor, just to be Asian, it's an honor, just to be Asian, yeah. It's an honor, just to be Asian, it's an honor, Word. So that was loud. I'm sorry. Yeah, y'all. So that was my set. That was some music from my latest album, Living Room. And y'all can obviously find more. It's everywhere. Y'all know the plugs. You know what I'm saying? Just look for my name anywhere, and you find it everywhere. But yeah, let's. If y'all have any questions, Michael, you know, how's this? Lead us through the process. I'm all yours for the next half hour.
Right, sounds good. So right before we transition to questions, can we all unmute and do a round of applause? We can't do this in person, but just want to run it. Yeah, thank you so much. Sorry, I just muted. But yeah, thank you so much for performing. It was really amazing. So now we want to open up to like a Q&A. We want this to be more like conversational and natural rather than just like pretty formal. So if you have a question, feel free to unmute and just speak up. Or if you're a little less comfortable with that, feel free to DM me or the other Michael and present your questions to Jason. So that's how we'll do it. Yeah. Anyone want to go for it?
May I start?
Yeah, let's get it.
All right. I was wondering how long does it take for you to make a piece of music?
It really depends. I'll say that leading off, you know, like I kind of was saying, right? It's not a scientific process. You know, it's not like X amount of hours in equals Y outcome. You know what I'm saying? Like you can literally just make bullshit for like a week, you know, like you like, okay, so this is the thing. I always say if you're a young musician, you just need to get your reps in. You know what I'm saying? Like, not saying that I don't have more to learn. I definitely have more to learn. But I'm saying, you know, early on in the process, there's this quote from Jerry Seinfeld that I saw once. He said, like, look, anybody can be funny. You don't have to be a comedian to be funny. Anybody at a party or when they're out drinking or when they're with their buddies can say some funny shit. The difference between a professional comedian and someone who's just a funny person is that a professional comedian wakes up at 9 a.m., gets their coffee, sits down and says, all right, for the next 8 hours, I'm going to sit here and make something that is in the direction of funny. It may be a good joke, it may be a bad joke, but I'm just going to do it. And I took that advice really to heart. And so, you know, I will say starting out, especially when starting out my career in LA, I moved out there like 2014 and really just started pushing, trying to get gigs, trying to get in the industry and all that. Some of the best advice I got mirroring that Jerry Seinfeld quote was, yo, you should be writing every day. You should be making songs. They don't even have to be all good. You just have to get used to the process of creating something, sitting down with a blank notepad. For me as a rapper, maybe I'll have a YouTube window open looking for beats and walk away at the end of the day, the end of the night, the end of the session with a demo. You know what I'm saying? So I learned to work quick because that's how the industry works. Like people aren't waiting like if you're an industry songwriter, right? People aren't going to be like, "Oh yeah, I'll book you 4 studio sessions so you can sit there and put together the perfect demo." Like that's not how it works, you know what I'm saying? It's, yo, I'm going to book you a studio session with this producer. You better walk out of it with like 3 pitchable pop hooks, you know? So I really believe in that. These days, again, I'm a little at a different stage of my career to where, honestly, and this is not a super glorious thing, but more of my time is spent on emails, on calls, on like networking which is all fun stuff. Like I love doing it on performances and gigs and sponsorships. That's actually more of my time than songwriting. But part of it is that having trained like that intensely for 5+ years of writing a lot, there's hundreds of unreleased demos and verses and hooks, you know what I'm saying? So now to be at this stage in my career, straight up, I could a couple hours, sit down with a beat, catch a flow, write a what my process. And I know I'm really going on and just saying a lot of stuff to you, but yeah, it was fun. I'll sit down, hear the beat, catch a flow, get a title, write a hook, write a verse 1, write a verse 2, bridge, outro. Can do it in like 2.5 hours probably.
Impressive. All right. Well, thank you.
Yeah, for sure. That was a lot of answer. That was probably more answer than you strictly wanted. But yeah, that's how my life be. Thanks for asking, Sam.
It's all good.
Cool. Anyone else got questions or thoughts or
Jason,
life experiences? Yes.
May I ask you a question? I super agree with your idea. Writing you need practice. And I noticed a small detail is that you prefer lowercase J and C during all of our communication. Is there anything related to culture, like background, or is it just a personal choice?
Yeah, I mean, aesthetically, I just think it's tighter. You know what I'm saying? Like, I like vintage shit. I like distressing. I like, I found this T-shirt at like Goodwill. And I feel like the lowercase, all right, it's more pretentious in the sense that it's like, oh, Jason Shu, I don't know, whatever. But to me, there's something about it that it just looks better all aligned, I think. And I just, there is an element, I think, of like trying to convey humility, or trying to convey like, I'm not trying to come in. I'm trying to let my words speak for me. I'm not trying to come in like, oh, look at me, Jason Chu. And to me, this is something that I often tell young artists. So if any of you are artists that are popping or want to get popping, I think it's so important to know that as much as like really incredible music and incredible talent is super important, a strong brand and strong branding is honestly, I mean, if your music is amazing, maybe you'll find a manager or an agent who will like pick you up and then like help brand you. But especially these days, right? All artists are like indie. Like even you got like TikTok stars with like millions of followers and they're just handling their own business, right? So like these days, I think it really helps everyone to think about branding. And whether it's little touches like capitalization or it's something like a logo, something like a style, it's super important to have an artistic eye beyond just your music. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, that's all part of that. Yeah, thanks for asking.
Yeah, thank you very much.
For sure.
Awesome. So I have a question from the chat, which is, how would you describe your sound? What is your target audience?
Yeah, that's a great question. So, I mean, I think about this a lot, honestly, because my sound can wander a lot. Today, obviously, most of my stuff stuck very much to the like jazz hop, lo-fi, kind of like chill vibes. So a lot of these projects that I've been putting out recently, especially 2020, because 2020 has been 2020, have been leaning in that sort of like jazz hop, lo-fi direction. With that said, when I do like more high energy, really turnt stuff, that's what my crew, Night Market, is for. And we've got a whole catalog of music separate from my Jason Chu solo stuff. But with that said, like, I mean, frankly, this is something where, as much as I just preached about being on brand, I'm actually a little off brand insofar as if I were really, really, really trying to stake a strong brand, I would just drill down into like jazz hop and lo-fi and just really try to become known in that scene. But I'm gonna be real. I've been listening to a lot of Lil Baby and Polo G and like Chef G, Sada Baby recently. So I got a record coming out later this month, and I think as we turn into 2021, I'm going in I've got like a kind of melodic trap direction that I'm really excited about. So, sometimes you just got to do fun shit. But yeah, that's kind of how I would generally define what I'm best known for, is being sort of like chill, lyrical, socially aware. That's how I get a lot of my bookings. But then, sometimes I like to have fun in other places too.
I've got a question, which is, do you ever run into like songwriting burnout or production burnout, or have you ever had something like that?
I have. I definitely have. Like honestly, even just like. So again, this is where I would say where you're at in your career kind of changes your relationship to it. You know what I'm saying? It's like, because, okay, the metaphor that I have is like, if you are a marathon runner, if you're a professional marathon runner, and you're like, yo, my body's burnt out, I need to rest, then you're probably accurate, right? It's like, all right, you know your body really well, right? You do this all the time. So if you're feeling tired, you're feeling like this shit is too crazy, you're probably right. Versus if you got somebody who's never trained, who's only jogged before, and they're on their first marathon, and 10 miles in, they're like, yo, I'm burnt out, I'm tired, I'm done. That's probably not accurate, right? Like if 10 miles into your first marathon, you're like, yo, I think I'm done, I don't think this is for me. The advice would be like, I think either keep going or get in the gym or push through, right? So I would say similarly for me, when I was younger in my career, like even before I was doing this professionally, right? When I was just writing as a fan, as a hobbyist, I would often feel stuck, or I would often feel uninspired. I would feel like what I was writing wasn't very, it was too same. But the reality was that it's because I hadn't done my laps. You know what I'm saying? I didn't know how to match the flow over a beat as well. I didn't know how to incorporate melody and make shit fun like that, So I feel like because when I was earlier in my career, when I encountered like songwriting burnout, a lot of it was I needed to be coached through it, right, by peers and other artists who that's when co-writes come in, right? They can sit there and be like, yo, here, what if you put this flow in? Yo, what if instead of going into a hook, you actually just put a bridge here and then went into a second verse and then you went into a hook, right? So that's where it was then. These days, when I'm feeling burned out, like I'll honestly probably just take a step back and handle business, because there's always emails and business to do. But these days I kind of trust my instincts more, right? Like literally it's these days, if I'm not vibing with a track, and I know it's a good track, and I know it's a track I want to write, but it's just not matching where my energy is at today, I'll pass on it and I'll circle around to it when I'm more in that mind space. Whereas, I think the right thing to do 5 years ago would have been to say, all right, I got to just keep pushing in and really doing my reps. You dig what I'm saying?
Yeah, that makes sense. Thank you so much.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah. Hi, I have a question. Why did you choose music as your career?
That is a great question. It definitely wasn't to make money. I want to be real. Music is not the optimal venue for that. What it is, though, for me, I chose music as a career because, so I'm okay, I'll put it this way. So I was raised religious. My parents are Christian. And part of being raised in that way was being taught that we're not just here for ourselves. You know what I'm saying? We're here to give back. We're here to make other people's lives better, right? And like obviously you got to take care of yourself, you got to survive, but we're also on earth to ask, what have I been put here to give? And so so my undergrad degree is in philosophy from Yale. So I graduated, and there was a lot of shit I could have done. I was working in nonprofit, and I was doing music because I'd always loved music. And I was seeing signs that my music was helping people. Like this thing that we say we want to do in nonprofit, right? 501c3 work, social justice. Oh, I want to help people. I want to build communities. I was seeing it all happen in music. I was living in Beijing. I was part of the underground hip hop community, the underground rap community, 7 or 8 years before Rap China. I was part of that community. And, I would get on stage and I would see young Chinese kids messing with my music. And obviously I'm Chinese American and most of my raps are in English. I have some, Mandarin music, which is what got me on Warrior, what got me on Wu Assassins. But even if they didn't understand all the words, they were vibing with me and they were receiving me. You know what I'm saying? And that's a great honor and it's a great privilege anytime somebody pays attention to you or listens to you or gives you space in their busy lives, right? But even beyond that, I realized if I want to be serving the community, there's evidence that this is a way to do it. And this is a way that I could be uniquely suited to do. You know what I'm saying? I got a lot of other friends who are doing great work in nonprofit, in corporate, in medicine, in academia. And it's awesome that they're there, that they're where they are. But for me personally, I don't know a lot. And I'm not saying that there aren't other Chinese American or Asian American rappers. There definitely are. But there's fewer of us comparatively. And I really believe in, especially for an Asian American community or perspective, it's so important to have diversity of voices. So I felt like if I could be, like I said, a little part of this movement that was just starting to surface, that would be a great way to spend my life. And then it turned out that I could make money from it and I could sustain my lifestyle. And that's what's let me keep doing it.
It's great.
Yeah, thank you for asking. I appreciate that.
I have a question. How do you build your career and get your music out there?
So I'll tell you the facts and I'll tell you the idea behind it, right? So starting out, I put my shit on YouTube, and that was back when the algorithm was still favorable. You know what I'm saying? Nowadays, the algorithm's trash. Like for Discovery, memey you got some super memey shit, like some Doja Cat shit, it's really hard to break out there. Or unless you're doing like Old Town Road, but death metal. You know what I'm saying? Like shit like that can definitely still serve as the algorithm. When I put my stuff out, it was a little less saturated, so it was a little easier. So I got a couple videos with like 50K, 100K, I think like 150K, enough to start touring. So that was what got me monetizing. Then the YouTube algorithm tanked and my channel is worthless now. And not like it was really popping ever, but it's really worthless. So then I went to Facebook and experimented with Facebook video boosts. That worked really well for a while. Had a couple videos that hit like 150, 250, 500, and then a couple that hit around 1 mil. So that kept me touring. Right, that kept people listening to the music. That kept people, when they would reach out to book me, I could book that. And then now, honestly, most recently, it's been Instagram. Instagram has been where I'm connecting with a lot of dope people, having some really dope conversations. And what I'll say, and then there's a little more I'll say, but what I'll also say is, so the guy who used to manage Far East Movement before they got signed to Cherry Tree, right, which is Interscope, he gave me advice when I just moved out to LA. He's a friend of mine. He said, look, Jason, like this entertainment, especially the rap game, it is a game of survival. You know what I'm saying? Like, if you can outlast everyone else, eventually you're going to be that dude that people think of when they're like, yo, who's a Chinese rapper that I can sign, I'm looking for a sponsorship, or I'm looking to book somebody for this Lunar New Year event. Oh, Jason's been out. Jason's been around. Like, I can hit him. But to be able to do that, you literally just have to survive. like all the other peers. And I'll say, you know, when I moved to LA, there was a bunch of other young artists that were like moving out at the same time. We were all doing shit together. We were all trying to pop off together. 98% of them, like 96% of them are not doing music today professionally. You know, and that's fine. That's totally fine. Like, you don't got to make your earning from music. But if you're making your living from performing and sponsorships and streaming deals and all that, you have to really adapt to the platform. So that's the idea behind all of it, right? Is like, don't ask the audience to come to you. Go to the audience, you know, wherever the algorithm's favorable, right? Right now, I mean, it's still possible to pop off on YouTube. Look at like Joanna Cedia, look at like people like that. But, you know, obviously for 2020, if you're trying to like break into a career, TikTok is where to be. Like that's the number one thing. If you are young and trying to like establish a brand, and there's gonna be something after it. I don't know. Clubhouse might be the next thing. You know, this audio only shit. But you got to really keep your ear to the ground, not only in terms of what are people listening to, but in terms of where and how are they listening to it. You got to meet the people where they're at. You dig?
Dope. Yeah, I've got a question from the chat, which is what's the end game for you, and what are the goals for your career?
That's a great question. That's a great question. End game for me, honestly, the goal keeps shifting, and the good thing is the goal keeps shifting upwards, because I've had some up years, I've had some down years. 2019 was a really good year. Frankly, 2020 career-wise for me was an even better year. We're starting to get TV placements. I've got my music in a sync library. My team and I signed to a TV film rep agency. Like, you know, we're getting like more and more looks. So it's very hard, especially I'll say as an independent, it's very hard to track what your end goal is, because it really can keep shifting as the, you know, like 6 years ago, we knew that like Asian music would be popping off. It was just, there were certain cultural trends, right? But then K-hip hop really hit, Rap of China hit, and 88 Rising really emerged. And all of that happening dramatically changed the playing ground for me. You know what I'm saying? Like, I have friends who landed records on Crazy Rich Asians soundtrack, you know, and my friends been like booking shows off that for the last 2 years. I have like, you know, friends who almost were on that Netflix show, Rhythm and Flow, right? I know people who've moved back to Korea and been on Show Me the Money and like popped the fuck off. So for me, the end goal is to make money by making good things for people. That is, for me, in the end, that's all I want to do, is I want to make sure that I'm making dope shit and making it sustainable. How I do that is going to change based on what the opportunities are available to me. You know, now some people, if you're not indie like me and you're not kind of handling your business the way I am, there's more traditional paths. You can be like, oh, I want to be a songwriter, and then I want to try to get an artist deal. Or you can be like, oh, I want to be, you know, a session instrumentalist, and then also pitch my like beats to, you know, A&Rs. You can totally have a more mainstream industry trajectory that has a little bit more definition. But yeah, the way that I've kind of plotted my career is it's always just been kind of, I think about surfing a lot. You know, I'm just trying to see where the wave goes next, rather than saying, hey, this is my plan and this is what I'm going to do. Because that has rarely worked out well for me.
All right, thank you. That's a great answer. So we're almost coming up on time. So maybe one or two last questions. But I have another question from chat, which is, do you think it's necessary to move to a big city like LA to make it big in an art career?
Yeah. I don't think you got to move, but I think you got to spend time there. It would be like, just because, frankly, you know, like, I'm not saying don't rep home. I'm not saying don't go home. I'm not saying don't go back and forth. Ideally, you can go back and forth. Ideally, what you should do is, I mean, it isn't what you have to do, but a great way to do it is live at home with your parents, save money on rent. The money you're saving on rent, spend on flying to like, I mean, it really depends what you're trying to do, right? Nashville for songwriters, for country, for like pop is great. Atlanta, if you're into like hip hop, trap, EDM. LA, if you're into like mainstream, anything like industry focused. New York, obviously, if you're into like rock or like certain kinds of hip hop. So I wouldn't say like, oh, you got to get away from home. I will say that all the artists that do well locally and then break out of that, they all have a presence in these cities. You don't have to move there, but I think you got to be familiar with how it works. I mean, with that said, like I have friends who are, like I said, my boy Matthew Jameson, really dope instrumentalist and producer, St. Louis based, you know, is there, got his wife, got his kids, they're good, they're doing their thing. But, you know, even with him, I'm always like, yo, man, you know, when quarantine lifts, you should come out to LA and take some meetings, you know, definitely like he's talking to people in Facebook groups and all that. And this is why I'm saying it. You're right. It's 2020, 2021. It's totally possible to just do your business in music industry networking groups, in Facebook groups, in Asian Creative Network, in Instagram DMs. That's very possible. But you got to know that like that face-to-face time, especially on the business side, I would say and honestly, even on the artist side, like I'll say this. I won't name names, but there's certain artists that, you know, like we've known each other online, or we're mutual. We follow each other on Instagram. We've like commented on each other's pictures. Like we're cool. But until you sit down, you have a meal together, you drink together, you're in the studio together, you like have that one-on-one time, or like your teams meet at least. It's literally just like dating when you're trying to do any music business or music collaboration. Like you can meet, you can flirt, you can have vibes and chemistry, but it really comes down to what your in-person energy is. Like in that way, again, music is not science. It's not like, I mean, and sometimes it is. It's like, oh yeah, Tyga and Doja Cat, that makes sense. Like that sounds like a good record. But in another way, like a lot of artists, especially artists that are very like interpersonal with it, you know, like you can do a record together online, but to really establish that chemistry. And then definitely if you're trying to sign a business deal, you got to see them face to face. You got to see how they move. You got to see how they treat you. You got to see how they shake your hand when you walk in the room, or the way they look at you, the way they look at your team. That's super important. And a lot of that you can only do in person. Like you really got to trust your gut sometimes.
All right, thank you so much. And my last question is also from chat, which is what musical or celebrity inspiration did you have early on in the process, and what do you think it gave to you?
That's a great question. I'll say, man, there's been so many. I usually would, I'll just say Ai Weiwei, Frank Ocean, Bono, Kendrick Lamar. Like those are some, and Lupe Fiasco. Those are the artists that have really, really, really shaped my vision and aesthetic. And you can see all of them are artists that talk about social issues. They are positive, or honestly, they're not all positive, but they're very hopeful, right? They're very hopeful. They're very socially tapped in. They're all people who are respected at their craft, really, really respected as technicians of what they do. You know, they're not maybe necessarily the most pop culturally flashy, but they all have a lot of respect and integrity. And I think I've learned from all of them really how if you are doing dope shit that is consistent and has integrity, you can build a brand out of it. You know what I'm saying? And like, it's not the kind of brand that'll get me like, you know, a $1,500 like for Fashion Nova collab, but it's the kind of stuff that will, you know, let me book and let me get on certain lineups and let me be seen as a certain type of community figure and cultural figure. So that's what I've learned from those artists.
All right. Thanks so much. If anybody has one last question, I think we have a little bit of time.
Yeah. Oh, that's right. Asian Creative Network was founded at WashU. I knew my friend Cal knew the person who invented it.
Yeah. Well, if that's it, yeah. I just want to say thank you so much for doing this. This is really incredible. I think everyone's a lot. And honestly, the music really slaps. We're all super impressed. So yeah, thank you so much. If you guys in the audience want to find out more about Jason, like Twitter, SoundCloud, Spotify, YouTube, all of those platforms, his handle is Jason Chu Music. I think almost is that right?
Yeah, everywhere. JasonChuMusic.com. I will say I'm probably most active on Instagram, but Instagram, Facebook, YouTube, SoundCloud. Just hit me.
Yeah, just anywhere on the internet, who's there. I want to also give a shout out to, we have attendance forms in the chat from the SLU High professor who was here, and also our own internal WashU thing. So if you just want to head over there, put your name on the survey, that's it. And finally, a huge thank you to everybody who came here and spent an hour of their day with us, and a huge thank you to Jason for doing this. And going on unmute and give another round of applause. Really appreciate it.
Hey, yeah, thanks so much for having me, y'all. I think this is like my last or one of my last college shows of the year. So it's been really great to come back to WashU, come back and hopefully, get to see y'all in the future. Stay tapped in, stay listening. My new record Splash comes out on December 22nd. And if y'all have any other questions about industry stuff, about music and songwriting, feel free to DM me. I can't always reply immediately, but I do read and get to everything. So, whatever it is y'all trying to do with music, whether just enjoy it or create it yourselves, just go do it. Just put that time in the gym. You know what I'm saying? All right, y'all. I got to run to another meeting. Love y'all, St. Louis.
All right, see ya.
Thank you.
Thank you.